Welcome to the second video on story mapping. In the first video I showed how you can actually create a story map like this. In this video I'm going to focus more on release planning. Now that we've got a bunch of stories, how do we decide which goes into the first release, which goes into the second release? So to do all this, we're going to use a feature in story mapping called custom feature fields, which is there in the tool. So I'm going to go into the settings and I go into custom fields, and now I'm going to create a bunch of custom fields. Custom fields allow you to create any kind of field and put whatever value you want in it. I'm going to create a field called release. Custom fields support different types. The main difference between the types is in what kind of widget you get to select. So let's say that I'm planning for 4 releases at the moment. So I'm creating a field which has got 4 different options, and I'm going to create another field. I'm going to call it risk, and it's going to be options. It's going to be no risk or technical risk or market risk. I'm going to create another field to highlight my differentiators. So call it value, and this is going to be an option as well. For now I'm just going to have one value differentiator. I'm going to create the field. So we've created 3 custom fields. Now I'm going to go back to the story tree and I'm going to expand the tree in full. Now we can start setting our custom field values on various cards. Let's assume that we're actually doing this e-commerce project in India. In India, paying by credit card is still not a thing which everyone does, and people are not willing to pay by credit card. That could be a big problem because it hits into the very basic fundamental assumption of my project. So there's significant market risk there. I'm going to go ahead and mark it as a market risk. Okay, so you can see now that the tag appears on the card. Now let's also assume that shopping cart support is a complicated thing to implement. Let's just assume for the sake of this video. So I'm going to mark that as a technical risk. Searching for books by ISBN is a really cool feature which differentiates us from our competitors. Again, it's not, but this is just an example. I'm going to mark it as a differentiator. So that card has got the differentiator tag on it. So you kind of get the picture. The first step is really going through your story map and aligning the various features to your business strategy. So our next question is, what's our release strategy? What are the stories that we want to do in our first release? What are the stories that we want to do in our second release, and so on? So if we look at this, we can see that checkout by credit card. If we learn that people are not willing to buy by credit card, then we need to significantly change the direction of our project. And I'm going to mark this card for release 1. So you can see release 1 has been tagged onto the card. What is the minimum number of stories we need to implement which will generate an end-to-end flow? So what are the stories which make up our skeleton? Homepage, Then let's say that we allow a user to search for book by title, and then add book into shopping cart. That also covers a technical risk. And finally, checkout by credit card. Obviously it's still very basic, but this release is mainly for validation, and to do that we just need these 4 stories. The next release we might think about fleshing it out so that we can make a public release. So we need to do categories. Okay, so this goes into release 2. We need to show book details so that users can click through, and we need to be able to remove from shopping cart, and we'll remain with credit card. However, if we learn that people are not willing to pay by credit card, then we might need to add a new option here, checkout with cash on delivery. And in that case we'll need to schedule this release 2, and I'll just move this up and above PayPal checkout, which we don't want for now. In release 3 we start actually implementing a few of the features which our business stakeholders want, and release 4 we might decide that we want to do PayPal checkout and make our cart a little easier to use by adding multiple copies of a book into the cart. Our tool uses different colors, background colors, to highlight the tags. It's very easy to just glance around these and see these are the green tags for release 1, these are the blue tags for release 2. So that's the end of the second video. In the next video we'll look at execution. So stay tuned for part 3 of the video. Hope you enjoyed this part 2. Thanks.